Alright guys, let's get this video going. I know you guys don't know what this little movie is. I know I've been keeping it quite a mystery. But here's what you guys been waiting for. This little movie, like I said, is controversial. It's a slutty, twisted, strange, over-the-top, exaggerated film with interesting themes, surprisingly for a B movie. Let's do this, guys. This is what you guys been waiting for. Let's do this. Drum rolls, please. This little movie that we're going to be reviewing and ranking today is... Frankenhooker, 1990, baby. Frankenhooker. That's what we're gonna do today, guys. We're gonna be reviewing and ranking Frankenhooker today. I know, already with the name is already wild. But yeah, guys, that's the movie we're gonna be reviewing and ranking today. And I'm excited. So I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far, and I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you. Alright, let's just get into this. Alright, let's get into the review, and first we're gonna start with the good, what I thought was good in the movie. So here we go. These are my points. First point, one of the first things that I liked about this movie is the themes of the film. The two themes that I really enjoyed about this movie. First of all, I was surprised a B movie or a movie like this had themes. It just caught me a surprise, but even though I shouldn't be surprised because I love this genre. I always defend this genre from a lot of pretentious ass people, but I'm not pretentious. I was just very surprised in a... Not that I was surprised, oh, a horror movie, oh, it has themes, oh, how surprising, you know? No. I was surprised about the themes and how they did it in the film. That's what made me genuinely surprised. Okay, the first theme that I liked, the body image theme, the women body image theme. I love the theme in the movie and how they did it in the film, especially, and pretty much the way how it runs in the film. It started in the beginning of the film, right, with the main character Jeffrey, his girlfriend. Well, they're at the birthday party. I think it was her birthday, if I remember right. But pretty much she's overweight. Obviously, she has like a freaking... It looks like she has a pillow under her shirt. It doesn't look convincing at all, but that's part of the fun, you know, part of the charm of this film that makes it funny when you really think about it. But anyways, she was overweight, and even a conversation came up where her friend that was in the birthday party right there with them told her, brought up her weight issue, and she was saying she tried, but Jeffrey's girlfriend said, oh, she tried all the diets and nothing has worked and blah blah blah. So she's been struggling with weight issues and body image issues, right? So that's where the body image themes begins in the film. That's where it starts. And another point where you can find the theme is after, when she dies in a lawnmower accident in the birthday party itself that they're in, like not long after the moment I just told you guys. So Jeffrey, after this tragic incident, he's trying to figure out how to bring his girlfriend back, right? And this is where the Universal monster stuff and the whole Bride and Frankenstein, you know, inspiration and tropes come into play. Well, he has this whole map, right? He has this whole blueprint that he crafted because he's trying to create his girlfriend's new body. So when he brings her back to life, that's the body she would have, right? But this is the thing. Jeffrey is crafting a perfect woman's body. He's crafting what he wants. Okay? Remember that. So it's pretty much like telling us that the commentary and the theme here is pretty much telling us that it's like men, right? Men like Jeffrey has an opportunity to craft whatever fucking body he wants on his girlfriend, because he has this weird opportunity to, because of everything that happened, to bring her back to life. Well, he has an opportunity to choose the body he wants. So obviously he crafts a perfect woman body. It's like he was trying to tell us that, like how men are, like a man's dream, like where a man is always only sees women and always wants women to have a perfect body. That's how we see women. That's a man's dream. That's what we want, right? So it's kind of like, that's what the movie's trying to tell us here. That's like that kind of scenario. But that's the underlining theme of the movie, and what's it called, and the commentary here. So yeah, that's where you can spot it. And not just that though, because in my head I'm like, how is he gonna get these body parts? The only way to get these body parts is for murder, right? And obvious prediction is he's gonna have to murder women to get these body parts that he's looking for, so he can bring his girl back to life. But no, guys, the movie really just subverts your expectation. It's nothing like that at all. Nothing. This motherfucker doesn't turn out to be a murderer or serial killer. No. Well, my point is here, where we're talking about the theme. He goes out to the street to look for hookers, and he's scoping and scouting for the perfect body parts. He even has binoculars. He's in the car roaming in these gritty streets, checking out all these hookers and scoping out for the perfect body parts, right? And he's like, oh yeah, look at this girl right here. Oh, that, she looks good right there. Oh, look at that blonde over there, that white girl. Like, he's just scoping out all these women, right? And he's like, oh yeah, look, she has great, she has great legs, all that stuff, you know, all these body parts. And well, yeah, so that's another point in the movie where this theme and the commentary runs. So yeah, towards the ending, guys, this is where the theme concludes and it all ties together. All right, towards the ending. Here we go, guys. Towards the ending, spoilers, if you haven't seen this movie, I warned you. So here we go. Well, towards the ending, what's it called? Jeffrey figures out how to rewire his girlfriend's head again, and now she's back as her normal self, how she was in the beginning. But now instead, she's just a Franken woman, a Franken hooker. Or if you want to talk about inspirations, the obvious in more detail, as Bride of Frankenstein. But the whole movie though, up to this point, she was since she got all these hooker body parts, she had a personality of the hookers. She would even say, want a date? You got some money? Like, you want to have a good time? You know, all
Elizabeth.
Want a date? Going out? Looking for some action? Need some company?
you know, all these phrases, because she got the personality of the hookers because she had all the body parts of hookers. You know, that's what Jeffrey gave her, right? Those body parts. But this is the thing, guys. Well, he rewired her brain, right? He rewired it, and she came back as herself, like I said. And she ended up realizing the body that Jeffrey gave her. She noticed like what Jeffrey has done to her, and she got offended. She got kind of mad, the body that Jeffrey gave her. Because remember, if you want to talk about the theme and the commentary here and what I've been saying so far, that's the body Jeffrey wanted. Jeffrey gave her the body he wanted, right? That's not the body she wants. No. That's the body that he wanted, and that's what he ended up giving her. She doesn't want that. She doesn't like this body, right? You know, that's where the body women image theme comes into play in that whole commentary. But there's a thing. You know what happens next? Jeffrey, he gets decapitated. He gets killed, and now his girlfriend has an opportunity to do anything she wants with him, because she has to bring him back to life, right? So she gets the same opportunity that Jeffrey got in the beginning, right? So now, you know what she does to Jeffrey? So this is where the theme and the commentary of the film all ties together, guys. This is where it concludes. But you know what she does? She gives Jeffrey a woman's body. Yes, a woman's body.
Elizabeth,
Jeffrey,
what happened?
some man named Zorro came by here.
Zorro? Here?
Yes. Jeffrey, you were gone.
Dead? How did what?
Well, you kept very good notes. And of course I used living parts.
Living parts? What do you mean living parts? Holy shit! That's not my hand! What are these boobs? Elizabeth, what did you do to me?
I remember when I first saw that, I feel very uncomfortable. Like, I feel like that's the point though. Like, you're supposed to feel uncomfortable, like, as a guy. Like, what the like, I couldn't imagine waking up after getting killed and getting brought back by your girlfriend back to life, and you end up noticing you have a woman's body, guys. Just imagine that. Put yourself in Jeffrey's shoes and in that situation. Bruh, that made me so uncomfortable just watching the film, knowing that. Just witnessing what was going on in that moment really made me feel uncomfortable. And I think that's the point. Like, it's pretty much trying to show us that this is a woman, like, this is a body. Like, she didn't want this body. And Jeffrey, especially as a guy, Jeffrey either. Why would he want a woman's body? Not even women want that body. Like, and to be more specific, not even his girl wanted that body. So it was a weirdly uncomfortable moment, and it was pretty odd, but I really enjoyed it in a good way. And it was an experience, right? But this is what else is trying to tell us here. This moment is low-key a jab at men for putting women on these high pedestals in society. Like, women always have to live on these high pedestals and under all these pressures when it comes to their body image and how they look. Like there's always high expectations on them when it comes to that topic. And women always want, men always want women to have these perfect bodies and on faces, everything. And they always have to live under those pressures. And that's pretty much what the theme and the commentary is trying to tell us here. And in the movie in general with this theme. And this moment is low-key a jab at men because of all those societal issues that I just said. And it low-key gives a win for women in this moment. It's like giving them a win for all women. Like, oh, finally women get revenge on men for what they've done to them. And like, when it comes to all these societal issues, when it comes to females.
I can explain. Obviously, since your serum only works on female body parts, I couldn't reuse your old body or even Zorro's. So naturally, I had to make some changes.
No. Where's my Johnson? What did you do to me, Elizabeth?
Granted, what I did may have been a bit unorthodox, but hey, you look great, and you're alive, and you're back with me, and I love you. I love you, Jeffrey, and we're together again, all of us. Together again. Together again.
So I thought that was pretty interesting, guys, how a movie like this is critiquing and is trying to tell us that, like, that's those specific topics. Like, it's tackling those specific topics, a weird-ass movie like this. Which, it's amazing, man. It's just, and like, you know what's crazy? Like, this movie reminds me of a recent film called Substance. If you guys haven't seen Substance, go watch it, man. Do yourself a favor, go watch it. Go watch that, and then come back and watch this film. Because after that one, I bet you anything that you're going to fall in love with this type of horror. Because Frankenhooker is this type of horror. And the funny part is that Substance tackles the same theme. That's the funny part. And that's what I found very fascinating and made me appreciate this movie much more, because I really liked Substance and I thought it was great. But Frankenhooker, yeah, it tackles the woman body image theme, and it does it in a very meaningful way, and I found it quite interesting. Yeah. Okay, guys, this is the next theme of the movie that I really liked. The next theme of the film that I really appreciated, and especially how they executed it, like how they decided to do it in the film, similar to how they did their own unique take with the women body image theme. Well, the next one is the drug problem theme of the film, which was pretty much commentary on the crack pandemic that was going on in the 90s, and it was killing a lot of people. It was a really serious thing. But let me get into this. Pretty much the way they do the theme in this movie is it, and I love it because it's done in the most exaggerated, over the top, comedic, but at the same time, when you really look into it, it's quite tragic. So here we go. Well, this is how they do it. Jeffrey, he gets his hands on a bag of crack, just regular crack, right? And he goes to the lab after trying some himself. He has all this mad scientist, spiky hair. He looks all cracked out with all kinds of energy. He creates his own drug called super crack in a big ass jar full of fat crystals, guys. Fat ass crystals. But this is the thing. This is where where the theme runs when it comes to the drug problem theme. Well, it's in one of the most memorable moments of the movie, and I already know this movie is pretty well known with this film. So when people think about this film, they think about this moment. So after watching it, you're definitely gonna remember this moment, guys. So here we go. Well, Jeffrey, you know that he needs body parts. Well, he decides to make a deal with a pimp, right? And he decides to get 6-7 hookers, and they make a deal. So he decides another day to go meet up with them at a freaking shitty ass apartment building. But the funny fun fact though, it's the same apartment building that he used for Basket Case. It even had the old man right in the in the entrance where you had to like sign in or whatever so you can get an apartment. Well, anyways, they were in the apartment building, him with the 6 hookers. The hookers, they just thought they were about to have a good. They thought that they were there to have a good time and have sex, right? But no. They have no idea what the fuck was going on, bro. Freaking Jeffrey. Well, he had all the hookers lined up, guys, lined up. They thought they were just there to have a good old time, but no, obviously not. Well, Jeffrey with his doctor's outfit and everything, measuring the body parts of the women, like their legs and et cetera, et cetera. And he was just like scoping out and trying to measure because he's trying to find. Remember, he's trying to find the perfect body parts. So he's doing all these measurements and trying to look for the perfect stuff. So after that, obviously Jeffrey, he pussies out. He says, I can't do this, because he's realizing that what he's doing is wrong, right? But after that, one of the hookers, this is where it gets pretty juicy, guys. One of the hookers goes in his doctor's bag, and she finds a big fucking bag of Jeffrey's super crack. Fat ass crystals, man, and the freaking excitement and the freaking excitement and shock and surprise on her face when she sees this bag of crack, all this drug, she goes nuts, guys. She goes nuts for it. And then all the hookers were like, "Oh, the party's not over yet," and all this shit, and they decided to the party. They started getting crazier. All the hookers smoking all the crack, having a good old time, lighting that pipe, all that shit, throwing smoke out of their mouth, all this crap. And I was like, oh no. Me and my brother, while watching the film, we're like, oh no. And then while Jeffrey's over here warning them later, no, don't smoke that. He's like warning them and shit, but obviously they're not listening. They're going crazy all over the place and stuff. So they're just having a good old time, partying and everything. And next you know, me and my brother, we're just waiting, bro. We're just waiting for it to happen, man. We're just waiting. And And next thing you know it, guys. Next thing you know it, here we go. Let's do this. Next thing you know it, they do a close up to the hooker's face with a surprise, shocking look on her face out of nowhere. She was like a shocked look, like she felt like something was wrong. You know what happens next, guys? You know what happens next? Next thing you know it, she ends up blowing up. She ends up freaking blowing up. Yeah, guys, she ends up blowing up like but the thing that I found hilarious is that when she blew up like a mannequin. Bruh, me and my brothers, when we saw that moment of her blowing up, it was one of the most like hilarious but satisfying moments in the movie. And it was such a payoff. We were waiting for the payoff, and it was satisfying. And me and my brother were just going crazy, you know. And that moment, we're like, we're just going nuts because we couldn't believe what the hell was going on in the film. And then after she blew up, another hooker blew up, and then another hooker blew up. Like they were just blowing up, hooker after hooker. And the more wild me and my brother were going, it was definitely one of the most satisfying moments of the film, man. And I can see why people talk about this scene, and it was damn good, man. It was just such a freaking bonkers ass moment, man. And I can see this scene is really tied to the cult status of this film. Like, this is why people remember this film. This is one of those scenes, man. It's one of those scenes, and it was such a great scene. But the thing is, that's where another moment where the theme runs. The theme of the drug problem theme runs, guys. So this is how it runs. It's pretty much about how drug addiction dehumanizes us and ultimately kills its victims. And also the movie highlights as well that how the lack of care of drug addicts as they're portrayed as tools for Jeffrey's experiment rather than people deserving of help. So yeah, it pretty much that's what pretty much is trying to tell us. And also there's a little hint in there like how women are being controlled by these drugs, and how addictive they are, and they ultimately are dying, and that pretty much explains like why they're how they're able to control these women in the streets by pimps, you know, by men, by other people. That's why they're in the situation they're in. That's part of the problem, because they are drug addicts and they need money to maintain that addiction. So that pretty much explains that. Okay, guys, let's get to my other point. This is something else that I thought was good of the film that I liked. I love the Universal Monster theme of this movie. I love the inspirations. And I became, like, not that long ago, I became a huge fan of Universal Monsters, but it's mainly because of Sam Raimi. Because he made me fall in love, obviously, in his Spider-Man movies and his Evil Dead movies, and then it all made sense. It all like came. I ended up realizing that he's heavily inspired by the Universal Monsters and Gothic horror, and it all clicked when I saw Darkman, and that's another underrated gem that I'll definitely be tackling in the future, and all of Sam Raimi's movies. But just letting you know, those films, Sam's films, are gonna be special event videos. They're gonna be some of my most special videos I'll make on this channel, and I'm gonna make there's definitely gonna be very special videos for this channel and for myself, and I hope you guys enjoy that, and stay tuned for the future. Like I was saying, guys, this is pretty much like a twisted, slutty, strange take on the Universal Monsters, but to be more specific, the Bride of Frankenstein. It's like a weird take on on that genre, and you know the tropes, you know, like the mad scientist, you know, all that stuff, Bride of Frankenstein, you know, all those classic tropes. And but the thing about this movie that I like what they did with those inspirations though is that they end up flipping those tropes. This movie is it's kind of original, man. It's pretty original. It's a unique film. And when it comes to the mad scientist trope that we've seen a bunch of times already, instead of you know, a scientist playing God, trying to bring back the create life and all that, in this one they do that, but the difference is how they end up flipping it and doing it differently. Is instead of the mad scientist playing God, playing, you know, creating life stuff, he has a more personal reason. And that's what I really appreciated and I really liked about it, and and which makes this movie unique and original in its own right. And it's personal because after an accident, his girlfriend dying, he's bringing his girl back to life. It's not about, oh, I want to create life and play God. No, it's more personal. He's bringing back his girlfriend that died in a tragic lawnmower accident back to life. And it's done in a cool way, with cool inspirations, with the mad scientist trope, Bride of Frankenstein. It's not just Frankenstein coming back, but it's the Bride of Frankenstein inspired way. You know what I mean? And what's it called? And not just that, but the way they did the mad scientist thing here, guys, is that with Jeffrey's character, when he was like losing it, right, dissenting, his mental state was slowly deteriorating as the movie went, and instead of him being like this mad scientist, he was mad, but not like mad scientist, you know, him going out like, oh, it's alive, you know, not like that.
Alive, it's alive, it's alive.
It was more like his psychological, or his mental health was just slowly deteriorating through the course of the film, and I'll get to his character in a bit. I'm getting there, but the thing about it, that the way they did it here is that Jeffrey, to show his, you know, descent to madness, he freaking drills a hole. He drills a hole in his head just so he can focus better. That's the difference. That's what they do differently when it comes to the mad scientist trope. It wasn't like, oh, it's alive, you know, going mad. It was more mad when it comes to a mental deterioration, like more mental health. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more, I get a bit more grounded when it comes to the performance and the way they approach this, you know? And then what we're used to seeing. So that's the difference in how they did it and how they flipped these tropes, which I really appreciate and I found fascinating. And I think that's what makes this movie original. That's part of it. That's part of it. Okay, guys. This is my next thing that I thought was good. Jeffrey's character. I really liked and I enjoyed his character. It wasn't bad. But this is the thing I found most fascinating about him. I like how he's a weirdo, guys. He's a strange weirdo. He dropped out of medical school so just so he can focus on his weird experiments. He has like a brain thing with one eye that at first he was struggling to you know, to make it work and for it to like make it work exactly how he wants it. But then eventually he nailed it. And But the thing is that there's like a specific moment that really explains everything about this character, and it's in the beginning of the film after the accident. That he seems to be dissociating himself from reality and all that. He's antisocial, becoming immorally dangerous. That's what he says.
Something's happening to me that I just don't understand. I can't think straight anymore. Like my reasoning is all twisted and distorted, you know? I seem to be disassociating myself from reality more and more each day. I'm antisocial. I'm becoming dangerously amoral. I'm scared, Ma. I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm plunging headfirst into some kind of black void of sheer, utter madness or something.
Do you want a sandwich?
And that pretty much tells us and puts us into his mental state and who he is as a character, which I thought was pretty interesting part of his character, and really pretty much sets everything that happens throughout the movie after this moment. It just sets everything out. And that moment alone can go into this point of mine. What I thought was good. That scene alone, that I liked of the film. That is another one of those standout moments of the film. He's a pretty messed up person in the head, pretty much. And the thing is that the grief, he's been consuming them. The grief just made everything much worse after his girlfriend died. But he was already like this before his girl died. You can tell, like, he was already like this kind of weirdo, and you can easily tell. But I think the grief just made things just much more worse. And in the beginning, they're pretty much, he's like struggling to move on from the incident, but he can't, because bro, he's still trying to figure out how to bring his girl back. That just makes it much more harder to move on from his girl and what happened. And he doesn't want to go to medical school either. Like, he pretty much stopped going. He dropped out, like I said. And so yeah, he never moves on. He just slowly deteriorates mentally and just goes mad, but not like a mad scientist. But they do it in their own way, which I think makes the movie and the character much more interesting. So yeah, guys, that's one of the things I really liked about this character. I think it was the most fascinating part of this character. Definitely worth going on my good side of my review. So I found that to be a standout and one of the good things about this character. So yeah, I made my point clear with Jeffrey already, and this is something else that I liked. Frankenhooker herself. I don't know her name, but she was great. But all I know, this was her only and last film she was in. This was her only film that she was in the film. And for being a beginner, I liked her performance. It was not just she was playing a classic Bride of Frankenstein performance, but she added something else on top of that. She added her own little take on it, her own little spin. And for being her first and only film, it just makes it much more impressive to me. And instead of having the classic Bride of Frankenstein, where she moves with the how do you call it, twitchy like. But what she ended up doing, what this actor ended up doing, I don't know what was the woman's name, but she did a fantastic job. Especially being a beginner, she added her own little mannerisms. I liked her mannerisms, what she did, or her mouth, like she was twitching, like putting her mouth to the side, which I thought was quite fun. Which I thought was quite funny in some moments, because remember, this movie is pretty exaggerated and over the top, and she knew exactly what movie, she knew the assignment, she knew exactly what movie she was in, and you can always appreciate that stuff. But I like how she added that extra layer in her performance with her mannerisms. Instead of playing the classic Bride of Frankenstein performance with the twitches, she ended up adding her own little flavor in there with her twisted mouth. And it created a lot of comedic moments and charm to her performance, and that I really appreciated. Yeah, she had some rough spots in there, some iffy rough spots for being a beginner. But for the most part, she did a great job. I think she did fantastic. And I think a lot of people end up agreeing with me, because it seems like a lot of people like her and they really enjoyed her performance. So yeah, that says a lot. Alright guys, we're done with the good. That is the good for the movie. That's what I thought was good for this film, that I really liked and I thought was good. But now, let's get into the bad. The bad of the movie, what I thought was bad. Alright guys, let's go. One of the first things that I thought was bad of this movie is there's some iffy acting, some iffy performances. I know I mentioned with the woman, with Frankenhooker himself, she had a few iffy moments, but for the most part she was great. That wasn't a problem. That's not what I'm talking about. The worst performance in this movie was for sure, and I know somebody out there's gonna agree with me, was the pimp himself. I know I haven't, it's my first time bringing him up, but the pimp, he gave the weakest performance in this film. And he had literally every scene that I saw him in, everything that would come out of his mouth was bad. Was just iffy, was just rough, man. It was just rough. Like,
What the fuck? What the fuck is going on in there?
you can tell, like, pretty, you know, he was not that experienced of an actor, and literally just like everything that he said was very wooden. Like, it was just rough on the edges, and obviously the delivery of his dialogue wasn't the best, and yeah, that's just yeah, he pretty much gave he gave the weakest performance out of all of them. I think Jeffrey himself gave the best performance, like all around. Like, I had no issues, like all around. And then obviously next to the you know, Frankenhooker herself, but I feel like Jeffrey was a little bit more experienced on the acting. I don't know if he went to, you know, acting school or he was in theater or whatever, but he gave the best performance out of everybody for sure, and the weakest was the pimp. But yeah, that's one of the things I thought was bad. And another thing, this isn't really an issue for me personally, but for others, I already know, like, warning, this movie's not gonna be for everyone. This film's not gonna be for everyone. It's very weird, very exaggerated, over the top, campy. It's just very, very odd movie. It's such an odd film that I already know it's not gonna be for everyone. And like, I guess some people are gonna be calling it a good but bad movie or whatever. You know, that stupid label, which I don't believe in, guys. I don't believe in that label. I already know. It was an issue for me, but I already know for a lot of people out there, if you're not really into horror movies or this type of movie, and on top of that, it's an exploitation film too. And knowing this director, you know, and knowing his filmography, it's not gonna be for everyone. And so I'm just speaking for others, you know, and I'm just you know, bringing up the elephant in the room. And so yeah, this movie was cool for me, but I already know it's not going to be for everyone. It's a very strange, odd film, for sure. And another thing is that my brother had a problem with, when he, literally at the beginning of the movie, my brother is very, you know, he's very critical like on a lot of movies, but literally the funny thing is that when I told my brother that I was gonna watch that I'm gonna review Frankenhooker next, he never seen this movie, but just with the title alone, he laughed at me and he laughed at the movie, and he's like, "Oh, that's rough." And then I was like, "Nah, bro." I was like trying to come with it. Nah, bro. It looks interesting, you know, bro. He's like, "You gotta give it a chance, you know." And I told him, "You're gonna watch this movie with me for my review," and he was already like very skeptical of this movie. He was already very like very like, ooh, he already had a feeling that, like, to him, that he really thought this movie was gonna be really rough. But this is not an issue for me, guys, but I gotta bring it up. It can be an issue for others. It was an issue for my brother. Well, Jeffrey's girlfriend, when she died, when she was about to get killed in the tragic lawnmower accident in the beginning of the birthday party scene, she was just standing there, while the lawnmower was going slow as fuck, and she just kind of got out of the way. And my brother brought that up, and I just started laughing because I even thought about it too in my head. But it was an issue for me because I know it's gonna be an issue for other people, and it was an issue for my brother. But that's just one thing I gotta bring up. But it wasn't an issue for me because I don't really see it as a flaw or like an issue at all, because it's just a genre convention. It's just a horror trope. It's just a genre convention. It's just part of the genre. It's not really an issue. Like that's the thing about genre conventions and movies in general. Movies sometimes they prioritize emotions and the experience over strict logic. So it wasn't really, if you're really focused and prioritize logic, then it's gonna be an issue for you. But if you just accept like horror movies, and you accept the horror tropes and conventions, and you like that, and this wouldn't really be an issue for you. In my opinion, in reality, I don't think it's a flaw at all, because it's just a horror trope. It's just a horror convention. That's all it is. But I guess it'll be an issue if you really care a lot of logic. So yeah, if you really care so much about strict logic, and this is definitely gonna be an issue for you. So it was an issue for my brother, and I already know it's gonna be an issue for others. So I just had to bring it up. So that's one of the things was a flaw of the movie, depending on the person. Like I said, it's not an issue for me personally, but for others, it'll definitely be an issue. Okay, this is the last thing I'm gonna say for the bad guys. One more thing. Even though the super crack scene is memorable and I really liked it, there was just only one gripe I had with it. Just one thing, right? Because obviously, when I was waiting for that payoff, right? I was waiting for that payoff for them to explode, like I said. But the thing is that I was expecting them to blow up with blood and guts, but instead, I got mannequins blowing up. So I was kind of disappointed with that, and for a little bit, it kind of put down the satisfaction of the moment. But as it went, I kind of accepted it, and I was still able to get a satisfying payoff from the moment. So next time I see this, watch this movie, now I know what to expect, and I'll be able to get a much better satisfying payoff than I did the first time. So I was expecting blood, I was expecting gore, but instead I got freaking mannequin parts mannequin parts going everywhere. So it was satisfying enough, but I feel like it could have been much better. It could have been much more satisfying. But maybe it's something that had to do. Maybe the MPPA. I'm pretty sure they probably butchered this movie a little bit. They probably toned it down a bit, because I heard that originally this film got an X rating. So that probably could have been the thing, that it got toned down a bit more. But that's a shame, because I could have got. I was expecting it. I wanted blood and gore instead of just mannequin parts. It would have been much more better, much more satisfying, but it is what it is, guys. It was still satisfying enough for me to enjoy the scene, and I can see why people like this moment, and it was still a great, enjoyable time, and such a memorable scene. But yeah, other than that, that was my only gripe with that moment, and I wish it could have been more. I wish I could have been blood and gore, because it would have been much better. It just would have been much better, man. But it's all good in the neighborhood, so it is what it is. Honestly, guys, I really don't have a lot of bad shit to say about this movie. I really didn't have a lot of bad stuff that I noticed, or that I saw, or any thoughts that I thought were bad, anything that I thought was bad about this film. I have mostly positive things to say, because honestly, for the most part, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun enough, and I enjoyed it, even though I had some gripes, and I didn't have a lot of bad things to say about it either, and I had more good than bad to say. But now that I finished saying all the bad things that I thought about the movie, and even though I have a lot of bad things to say, that doesn't mean this movie was perfect. There's a lot of good things that I said about it, yes, but that doesn't mean this movie was perfect either. So here we go, guys. It's time to get to the ranking of this thing, and let's see what I end up thinking about the movie overall, and what ends up being my final thoughts about the film. Alright, guys, let's get ready, because we're gonna rank this thing. Alright, guys, let's rank this thing. Alright, what am I gonna rank this film? Frankenhooker. On top of all the fun, absurdness, and over-the-topness and weirdness, it had something meaningful to say underneath, and you gotta respect that. And it's an original horror movie. You can't take that away from it. And even though it might not be for everyone, but you can at least respect that it was trying to tell you something. I thought it was a fun, very enjoyable movie with memorable standout moments and meaningful themes, and the way they approached it, the characters, and the overall inspirations of this movie, and just the overall way they just did the themes and just this film. The overall approach was very meaningful and original, and I think that's what makes this movie stand out. Is the originality and the way they approach things. Like, they did it in their own way. They flipped the tropes that we know and love from Universal Monsters. They did meaningful themes, but the way they did it also is worth noting. And I think that's what really makes the themes in this movie and this movie alone, I think that definitely makes this movie stand out and definitely worth praising and respecting in its own right, you know? So you can at least respect it for that, even though the movie might not be for everyone. But the movie ain't perfect. I had a lot of good things to say about it, yes. But the movie's not perfect, obviously. We're going to figure out today to see if what I thought about the film. Is this movie good? Is this movie bad? Is this movie in the middle? Is this movie great, a masterpiece? I don't know. We're just going to have to find out on my ranking here today. Remember how my ranking system works? It goes from 0% to 100%. So 0 meaning the bottom of the barrel, absolute garbage. So pretty much anything close to that, garbage. The middle is like in the middle, you know, like 50%, right? Is average, you know, in the middle, it's decent, you know. And 100%, anything hitting 100% and close to that, you already know, guys. So here you go, you guys. This is what you guys been waiting for. Let's do this. Get yourselves ready and nice and comfortable, because I'm ready and nice and comfortable. So here we go. I'm gonna rank Frankenhooker out of 0% out of 100. This is what I'm gonna rank it, guys. This is my ranking. Here we go, guys. I'm gonna rank Frankenhooker out of 0 out of 100%. A 88% on my ranking scale. Yes, guys. That's why I'm gonna rank Frankenhooker. I ranked it 88% on my ranking scale. It's definitely a bit more higher than my last movie, than Dawn of the Dead, because if I gotta be honest, I like this movie and I enjoy this movie a little bit more than that movie, and it's definitely up my alley. You know, it's definitely hitting my taste. But besides that, I think this movie in general, honestly, in my opinion, I honestly think this movie, though, is 88% on my ranking scale. I think that's appropriate. I think this movie is a good, solid movie, and more than solid. I think it's more than good, more than solid type of film. And even though it might not be for everyone, it's definitely a solid, good film, man. It might not be, like I said, it's not for everyone. But I think those are the best types of movies, in my opinion. I think those are I think those are the best movies out there that you can watch, even though it might not be for everyone. But that's okay, right? But anyways, I think this movie is more than solid, man. More than good, more than solid, and it was a meaningful film on top of all the schlockiness and the, all the exaggeration, the weirdness, the strangeness. I think it's worth watching, especially for diehard horror fans that are into this director and are into this type of movie. Especially if you like Substance, like that movie recently. It's kind of like that type of horror, so I definitely recommend this movie if you guys really like that type of horror and that film. I think this is a good companion to that film if you guys want to watch them back to back. I think it's a good example of this kind of movie, like very weird, strange movies that they're not for everyone, but done right, with meaning. It has some substance in there. It's trying to tell you something, man. It's really trying to say something, and you gotta respect that, even if you don't like this kind of movie, which I know there's a lot of people that don't really like this type of movie, like, you know what I mean? So, but that's alright. I like this type of movie, and I know a lot of you diehard horror fans or anybody out there. I know there's somebody out there that likes this type of movie, so you know what I mean. But yeah, if you guys, I highly recommend. If you guys want to check this out, I highly recommend this film, man. You should definitely watch this film, and I definitely recommend it to you. Well, that's it for today, guys. That was my ranking, that was my review, and those were my thoughts, and that's what I thought about the film overall. And I just want to say thank you for being here, for whoever clicked, and for bearing with me. And I'm still getting used to this whole YouTube stuff, but whoever clicked here, thank you for supporting and supporting my dream and just giving me a shot. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. It really means a lot to me, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. I truly mean it, and I appreciate you. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and like and subscribe, guys, and I hope we can grow this channel up. I hope you guys can help me grow the channel. Like and subscribe, notification bells on, so we can stay connected, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff coming, man. Like, I'm working hard here, and I'm excited for the future, and because that's all that matters to me. I'm always trying to make good content for you guys, so you guys enjoy it. I at least want to put a smile on you guys' face, make your day a little bit better, and at least, man, that's the least what I'm trying to do for you guys. On top of me trying to make good content for you. But yeah. But like I always say, you never know what movie I'm gonna do next. You know how I do things. You know how mysterious that thumbnail is. It can be your personal favorite. You never know. It can be a freaking all-time classic that everybody knows and loves, but I got an interesting take on it. You never know. It can be an underrated gem, whatever it might be. But the thing is that you never know what I'm gonna do next. So watch out for my next video, because you never know.